this is the one that I am most prepared for. And this is the one that I'm going to do, and in doing so, I'm going to help other people. Brave men rejoice in adversity, just as brave soldiers triumph in war. Seneca. Been thinking a lot lately about how we can best respond to, react, and deal with things in life that are hard. And I don't mean hard in the sense of existentially hard. I'm not talking about, the tough times in life, because I just did an episode on that recently. And, life has its ups and downs. But no, I'm talking about just difficult things. And the reason this is important in the context of Stoicism is that a huge part of Stoicism, similar to Christianity and Catholicism, is that you have to bear something heavy. And strength is a really big and important part of Stoicism, because strength allows you to carry something heavy. And so the Christians would say, bear your cross, right? And the Stoics would say, do something pro-social for the world. Carry something heavy. Not just for the sake of carrying something heavy, but for the greater good. And so Seneca says that quote, right? Brave men rejoice in adversity. They rejoice in adversity. Meaning, there's almost a part of you that's happy, that's joyful in adversity. And that's a very interesting idea, because hard things by definition are hard, right? Of course they are. And it's easy for us to get motivated to go do hard things when we're sitting here on the couch with our feet up, watching Family Guy or something. It's easy for us to say, you know what, I'm going to do something hard tomorrow. But then when you wake up the next day, you open up your laptop or you go to the base of the mountain and you're looking up and you're thinking, man, this is actually really hard. So we all admire people that can do hard things. We all admire strong people, and we all want to be strong people because we admire strong people. But at the end of the day, hard things are hard by definition. And so how do we best think about hard things in life? Bearing our cross. And I want to read you another quote here. This one's from Alex Hermosi, someone I quoted on last episode. But let me give this to you here. And I quote, "Everything worth doing is hard. The more worth doing it is, the harder it is. The greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. If it's hard, good. It means no one else will do it. More for you. Train yourself on how you respond to hard. I get happier about the harder it gets because I know less people are willing to do this. Switch your perspective from, oh, this is hard, to no one else is willing to do this. Oh, poor me, to, oh, poor everyone else who's going to try." End quote. Now, Alex Hermosi, he's an entrepreneur, very hard worker. He kind of embodies this spirit of being an entrepreneur that's working really, 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 really hard. And I can't say that that's a Stoic quote, but there's elements in there that I want to pull out. First of all, I read that thing, and the competitor in me gets excited about that, right? Because as someone, like, I'm quite ambitious, and you're reading something, you're thinking, well, if I do something hard, that means less people are less likely to do it. Therefore, hey man, more from me. And again, the competitor in me and in all of us likes that. It's motivating, but it's not a particularly Stoic thing, because it's really putting you in competition with everyone else. You're getting motivated for the wrong reasons. And so we can talk about, and I guess really this is where this episode is going, what are the right reasons to do hard things, and why we should be doing that, and how we can feel about that, and how we can even be happy and excited about that. But I want to haul out a couple things here from this quote from Alex Hormozy. Everything worth doing is hard. Everything worth doing is hard. So what that's not is everything that's hard is worth doing. Not every mountain is worth climbing, right? And that's a very strong lesson, because we can get caught up in life a lot of times doing things that are difficult just for the sake of them being difficult. But we can lose sight sometimes of whether or not that thing is actually a valuable thing to do. So everything worth doing is hard. Meaning, if there's something out there, some cross you want to bear in the world, if it's really a cross that is worth bearing in the world, well, of course it's going to be hard. Because if it wasn't, it wouldn't even be a cross. If you want to play your role in the world and helping make the world a better place, of course it's going to be hard. If it was easy, just everybody would do it. Everybody would do it. You wouldn't need anyone to bear it. So that's the first point here. Second quote he says, or the second line here, he says, the more worth doing it is, the harder it is. Okay, so the harder things get, or the more worth doing something is, the harder it is. Great. The greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. There does seem to be a link between how hard something is, how heavy that cross is, and the payoff. Not to say that you can or should overstress yourself, right? Because you're just someone that has a particular level of fortitude and strength right now, that has to bear something right now. And you got to make sure that you're not putting too much weight on that squat bar before you get underneath it. Okay? However, over the course of time, doesn't it make sense that we make ourselves more competent? And then over time, we are able to carry heavier things? I mean, of course it does. So that's really what it's saying here. Maybe a good goal in life is become stronger. Now, let's continue. If it's hard, good. It means no one else will do it. And that is where Hormozy kind of starts to deviate a little bit from Stoicism. Because he starts to think in almost a toxic way. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to feel good about it because my competition is much lower. Poor everyone else is going to try to do this because I'm going to beat them. I'm not going to lie to you and say that that's not motivating, but I'm also going to tell you that that's not particularly stoic. There's a much healthier way to think about doing hard things and why we should and how we can feel about it, right? Still, there's a lot of wisdom in Hormozy's quote there, but we got to make sure that we're clear on what the stoic way of thinking about this is. So let's circle back. Let me read you this one more time from Seneca. Brave men rejoice in adversity, just as brave soldiers triumph in war. Hey there. Let me thank you for being a listener to this ad-free podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, there are a few things you can do to help me out. A 5-star review on Spotify or wherever you're listening to this really does help, and it's free. You can also sign up for my Substack newsletter or Patreon. Substack free gets each episode emailed to you along with the transcripts in the form of an article. You'll also get access to my live talks, followed by a Q&A afterward. Substack Premium supporters and my patrons on Patreon get access to the recordings and a brief article of those Q&A sessions, access to full episodes of the Paradoxically Speaking podcast, my Steps to Success interview series, Stoic meditations, and much more. Links to Substack and Patreon can be found in the show notes. How do we feel good about adversity? How do we feel good about doing hard things? You are put on this planet with a particular set of strengths and weaknesses. And over your life, you get to cultivate both of those, really. But for the most part, you want to focus and cultivate your strengths while at the same time cultivating and strengthening your weaknesses to the point where you don't get taken advantage of or you don't fall apart, or you want to make sure the weakness is not a catastrophic weakness. But your strengths, whatever that is, you have to harness that and cultivate it over the course of your life so that you can become more competent, more competent, stronger, better at a particular thing. If you're good at math, maybe you can look into engineering. If you're a really empathetic, compassionate person, maybe you'd make a great preschool teacher. Maybe you'd make a great nurse. Maybe a great doctor. If you have a very objective, analytical mind, maybe you'd make a great scientist pursuing truth in, I don't know, whatever field interests you. The point is that you have a particular set of strengths that you're kind of just given. You're given by your genetics, and then they're cultivated by a combination of yourself and the people around you at a young age and the people you choose to surround yourself with. As you get older, which strengths you're cultivating and which direction you're heading becomes increasingly more your own choice and your responsibility. So by the time you're like 20, 22, you should probably have a good idea of what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and what you're cultivating and which direction you're heading in life. And that's the way forward, period. You find out what your strengths are, you cultivate them, you make yourself better, you make yourself competent. In other words, we could say you make yourself useful. Imagine being useful. Imagine being a tool in the cosmos's toolbox that is actually useful. And that should be a huge driver in your life. And the way you do that, of course, is by doing hard things increasingly. The way you increase your squat is to squat weight. Not weight that's going to kill you, but weight that's going to hurt you a little bit, right? It's going to break you down. It's going to be difficult. You're going to be struggling under the weight, but ultimately you're going to be able to do it. That's how you become stronger. And so you make yourself more competent. And you do that for several reasons, for several simultaneous reasons. First of all, you do it so that you can live life and you can actually bear the suffering that is inherent in life. Life is unbearable in many ways, as Peterson likes to remind us. So you need something that's worth bearing to offset the fact that life is suffering. So bear something so that you can be existentially at peace. But even deeper than that is become someone competent and strong so you can make the world a better place. So you can be someone who is able to be strong for other people. An idea I've mentioned in the past, and I'll reiterate it here, is we first become strong so that we can lift ourselves up. And then we become strong so that we can look down and haul other people around us up. That's the point of strength. And so when we see a cross in the world that's worth bearing, that we deem that's worth bearing, we should be damn well excited about that because we get to bear something that other people would struggle with. And it's not so that we can say, hey, look at me, I'm stronger than you. I'm bearing something that you cannot. I'm strong, you're weak. It's not because of that. It's so that you can actually be pro-social, so that you can do something positive. You can impact the people around you in a positive way. In many ways, the cross you choose to bear, the difficult things that you choose to do, You should be excited about it because you should be thinking, I have lived my whole life up until this point, trying to make myself strong and competent enough to deal with this challenge. And this challenge, this is the one that I am most prepared for. And this is the one that I'm going to do. And in doing so, I'm going to help other people do it. I'm going to help other people by bearing this particular cross. And at the same time, I'm going to look to my left and I'm going to look to my right, and I'm going to see other people with different strengths and different competencies. And they're going to be bearing their cross. I'm going to think, you know what? Maybe I don't want to be a surgeon. Maybe I don't have the hand dexterity. Maybe I don't have the peace of mind. Maybe I faint when I see blood, but I can still have respect for that doctor over there, for that surgeon who's performing surgery during an emergency and saving people's lives. And so it's not in competition. It's in collaboration with every other person around you. That's how you think about difficult things. If you have a strength and that allows you to tackle a particular problem in this world, man, you should be so bloody happy and thankful about that. And you should work at cultivating that so that you can carry that cross up that hill as far as you bloody well can. So be competent by doing hard things increasingly over time. Make yourself strong, make yourself stronger. Rejoice in adversity, rejoice in doing difficult things. Not so that you can feel superior to everyone else, and not so that you can look down on other people, but so that you can play your role in the greater whole.